Hello everyone, I'm here to go over challenge 3 for Adobe Illustrator. I think it's on page 10.7 here. So we downloaded to open this file. What I also do sometimes too, if I have like a long list of instructions, so I don't have to go back and forth, just copy and paste the text in there too and change it to white. It's easier to read on the black. So the first step is to image trace logo 3 using the sketched art preset. So what that means, I'm going to use my selection tool. I'm going to go to logo 3. You can see this is image tracing takes bitmap or pixel-based images and vectorizes them. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit by pressing the Z key, press the V key again to select it. And when I have this selected, right on my options bar, I'll see the image trace button. But again, on the test, you're not going to see any of this stuff here. Like you could always add your options bar. It's control right here, right? Or you could go switch the workspaces over here to go to Essentials Classic. But if you don't see anything else like this here, or you could just go directly to the image trace panel. So I'm going to go to the image trace panel, and you can see that if I click on trace, it image traces. Again, this is just a preview. I can go back and change all these settings. Once I have it exactly the way I wanted it, that's when I would click expand, right? So for this problem though, it says to trace using the sketched art preset. And that's all it says to do. So I'm not going to expand it or anything like that. Yes, logo 3 using the sketched art preset. And then I would click OK and move on to the next question. Our next task is to create a clipping mask using the oval and logo 2. So there's a logo at number 2, this one here. So basically what I want to do is I want to use this oval shape to mask the rest of this logo. So if I want to do that, I need to select both of these objects. Whatever object I want to cut into the other one has to be on top. And then with them both selected, and again, if this is multiple objects, see, but they're all grouped together, right? So select them both there. And it's under object. So again, thinking logically, like we're doing something to objects, where is this going to be in the menu bar? Under objects. And it's all the way at the bottom. Clipping mask, make. And then if you do this though, and I like click and drag and I accidentally select the 2, suddenly I have this third element that's going to mess things up. So if I go back to, not class link. If I go back to object, clipping mask, make, with the 2 selected, it changes everything. It like clips both of these around the 2. Right, so I don't want that. Make sure that I only have these 2 selected, and I just press Control 7, which is the keyboard shortcut for clipping mask. All right, so the next one, create a scatter brush using logo 1 with these settings. So whenever you got that instruction, like just go to scatter brush. If you don't know what is the size and spacing and tints method, what any of that means, that's okay. As long as you can get to the first step, which is make a scatter brush. So I have my object selected I want to make a brush out of. Go to the brushes panel, and you guessed it, I'm going to click the little plus sign, new brush, and then I want to make a scatter brush like it said. And the settings here were to change the size. I'm not randomizing anything. I'm just going to change the size to a specific number like it says, to 25. And then change the spacing to 55. And those are percentages. And the last thing says change. It's tints method. So I can see the method right here. I'm going to change it to tints, the colorization. That just means that it's going to adopt the colors of the path that I'm applying the brush to. So there's my brush, and oh, I forgot to name it. That's okay. I could just double click on this and name it NEOC1. Oh, not 1. It's always better to copy any text that you have to use on the text test in case you misspell. That'd be a horrible way to get this one wrong, misspelling the name of the brush. All right, and then apply the brushes to the blue and orange lines. So got blue and orange lines right here, and I'm just going to go to my brushes and click on my brush. And there we go. It should look like that. All right, next, change the black line to look like the gray wave, but you're only allowed to adjust 1 point. Oh my gosh. All right, so I need the anchor point tool for this one. So first of all, like this is the point that I'm going to adjust, right? Right now, this is a corner point, right? If I click on it, it's a corner point. There's no handles or anything like that. So to get handles out of a point that is a corner point, we need the anchor point tool, which is, I'm going to pull these out, right? So like this tool right here, right? So like you can just click on this here, and this pulls out those handles. And then I could let go of my mouse and then click on this one handle here and move this separately with that tool. right? The way I would do this, and then I could go back here, and then, but see, the problem is if I click on this point, it converts it back to a corner point. So I like to just use the pen tool. This allows me to work fast and use keyboard shortcuts. I just press the P key for the pen tool, and then if I hold the Alt key, I could click, this becomes the anchor point tool. So now I could click and drag, right? Pull this out. And then I could do the same thing, holding Alt, right? The whole time I'm holding Alt right now. Grab the handle, turn that one in, and then I could hold Alt and then click on this point again. Oh, we undo that. Alt, I'm going to click on the path. That gives me that other handle and allows me to kind of move this one in place. Again, I'm holding Alt this whole time. And that is how you do that. Change the color of layer 3 to grass green and unlock all layers. Okay, so that is on the layers panel. I'm going to go to the layers panel, and then I've got layer 3 here. I'm going to double click on the layer area over here and then change it. It's green, but I'm going to change it to grass green. Also, if the question said, make it so layer 2 doesn't print, you do the same thing here and uncheck print. Or make layer 2 into a template layer. Do this, double click on it here and then go check template layer, right? So that's how you do that. It says grass green and unlock all layers. All right, so hit OK. And then I'm going to unlock layer 2. All right. And then add some text using the Type on a Path tool to the rainbow oval and then center align the text. All right, so let's go to that oval shape. Zoom out a little bit. I'm going to grab my type tool. Now there is a Type on a Path tool. This is different than the vertical type tool. So like I could go right in and use the Type on a Path tool and then click on this. You can see how I have this little, my icon, my mouse pointer there is a text tool with a little line through it, right? And then I just click once on the path and it becomes a path to type on, right? I'm going to undo that. But if you don't want to mess around like that and you just use just the type tool again, like when I move my mouse over the path, it becomes a circle, not a line through the middle. So this makes it into a text box. And with Control Z, I don't want that. But if I hold the Alt key, that's the magical key, right? Now it becomes, instead of the circle, I get the Type on a Path. And there we go. And then I could just type some text. Again, I would copy and paste this on the exam. And then I need to center it. And I would just do that with the paragraph panel. So like once I use the selection tool, you can see I could adjust where the text starts on the path. I could adjust where the text finishes on the path, right? And I could, there's another line in the middle here where I could adjust, like this one is for like, where is the text? Is it underneath? Is it over here? It's over there, right? Those are all the things. But if it says right align, that would be with the paragraph panel or center line right there, right? Paragraph panel. Anytime you see a word, not on the properties panel, that has the dotted underline, that means you click on it and it gives you a whole panel. All right, so we're cruising along through this. All right, so the next step is to change the gradient for all objects on Artboard 3. So let's go to Artboard 3. In here, so I've got Artboard 3 here. I know that this is Artboard 3 because if I go to my Artboard panel and I see Artboard 3, I click on it and it's got a black box on it. So these are my objects. So first of all, I need to select them. And I could use the gradient tool to kind of adjust the gradients, but since we can't do that, I'm going to use only the gradient panel. And then it says only change the gradient to blue to red from the top to bottom. So you need to go from blue at the top to red at the bottom. Do not change the yellow gradient stop. Add a blue gradient stop, then delete the yellow stop. So to add a gradient stop, you can see with this panel open, things selected. If I just move my mouse near where these gradient stops are, these little circles are called gradient stops, and I just click once, I'm adding one, and then if I double click on this, I could pick a color, right? And now here on the side, I could pick, do I want to pick a color from my color picker like this? Do I want to swatch, or do I want to eyedrop something in there? So what I want to do though here is just pick a blue for my swatch. And then you can see the next thing to get rid of gradient stops, you just click on it and pull it down, right? So I'm going to click on this and then pull it down. Just click and drag it down, right? And now I have my blue. Now this goes from red to blue. So the last step would be to move the blue to the other side. And there I've got it. And then let me double check. Yes, did all the things. And that is that step. So next step is change the orientation of Artboard 7 to landscape. So again, I could go to my Artboard panel and then double click on Artboard 7, 6, it's named Artboard 7. And it zooms in right to that. And now with the Artboard tool, again, this is the Artboard tool. If you don't see it when you're taking the exam, go back to Essentials Classic. It's where all the tools will be exactly where you want it. And then, but when to find the test, when I go back to Essentials Classic, the test will disappear. That's where you go to Window Extensions, and then you'll see the LIDA exam right here, right? Oops, there's the announcements. All right, so once I have this artboard selected with the artboard tool, I could change the size specifically here with the height and the width, but also I could change the orientation with one click. You can see this on the options bar. Again, you won't see the options bar, but the properties panel is this pretty much the same as the options bar. It's sensitive to the tool and what you have selected. And you can see I could just change this to landscape with one click. There's that step. So a couple more here. Convert the objects in Artboard 2 to document guides. Oh, this is so fun. So again, I'm going to find where is Artboard 2. And I'm going to select these. So all I did was, you couldn't tell, I double clicked on this area, right? Not on the name, because like double click there, changes the name right over here. I double click. And then I have these objects selected. And then I'm going to go to view. Where is anything that's not printed is under view. So view guides are under view. And I'm going to, with those objects selected, click make guides. And then they're document guides. A lot of times if I have, I'm going to Control Z that. If I right click these objects, you might see it here. You don't see it here with the selection tool, but if I had the shape tool and I right click these objects, it should be here. Oh, I don't see it either. All right, well, the main way to get that is to go to view with all them selected, guides, make guides. Any shape, vector shape can make into guides. Okay, and then we're going to rearrange all artboards from left to right using rows, 3 columns, 100-point spacing, and make sure to keep artwork on artboards. Okay, so that would be again from the artboard panel. Again, if you don't see that, under window, that's where all the panels are. In this bottom corner here, rearrange, or if you use the panel options, you could rearrange in here too, right? And then this pop-up pops up here, and then we're right to left, my little zigzag, and I've got 3 columns. If I go right to left, columns and rows disappear, right? I want 3 columns. And you can see it's going from left to right. And I have all artwork checked, and the spacing is 100 point. And so I'm going to, and then again, if this, my ruler is in inches, so if I put 100 here, I would have to write PT to make sure it's points. And then hit OK. And then if I zoom out, you can see they're all cleanly organized now in rows, and all the artwork moved with there. And then finally, I'm going to select all these objects and merge them into one layer. Might have to come back in the second video for this. I was having trouble with this earlier. So I'm just going to, yeah, they're all not. So I have everything selected. And this is where I would merge selected. Yeah, this one I'm gonna look at a little bit closer, and we'll have a new video on like messing with layers, because there's some tests. I want to make sure I do this exactly the same way as it's going to be on the test. So we're going to talk a little bit more about layers in the next video. All right, that's it for challenge 3. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.